Ladies and gentlemen, most people are stuck not because they don't know what to do, but because they refuse to do what they know. It's not about a lack of knowledge. It's not about a lack of talent. It's about a lack of action. And the reason action is missing is because people are waiting for a feeling, waiting to feel motivated, waiting to feel inspired, waiting for a perfect moment. But here's the truth: that moment is never coming. If you want to transform your life, if you want to break free from average, if you want to step into your calling, you must force yourself to take action. You think winners feel like working every day. You think top performers always feel excited. Absolutely not, but they act anyway, and that's what separates the powerful from the passive. You've got dreams, you've got goals, you've got a vision inside of you, but you're treating it like it can wait. Like you've got forever. But life doesn't pause for procrastination. Every second you hesitate, you hand your future over to fear. The enemy of progress is not failure, it's comfort. You've grown addicted to convenience, addicted to scrolling, addicted to excuses, and that addiction is costing you everything. You want results, but you're not willing to move. You want the body, but you won't do the reps. You want the business, but you won't make the call. You want the relationship, but you won't have the conversation. You want transformation, but you won't take the step. That contradiction is destroying your destiny. You've got to override your emotions with discipline. Your mind is going to scream, "I don't feel like it." And that's exactly when you must move. You've got to do it because you don't feel like it. That resistance, that's the signal. That discomfort, that's the doorway. The breakthrough doesn't come from waiting. It comes from working, from deciding that no matter how you feel, you will execute. Your future does not respond to your feelings. It responds to your faith. And faith is proven in your feet. Are you moving? Are you obeying? Are you executing? Or are you praying for miracles you're not prepared to receive? See, too many people are talking about success, but they're not walking in the direction of it. They're reading the books, they're listening to the podcasts, but they're not making decisions, not building, not starting, not finishing. They're learning, but not earning, because learning without action is just entertainment. You've got to force yourself to take action, not once, every day, relentlessly, ruthlessly, because every step you take teaches your mind that you are in control. You are not a victim of fear. You are not a slave to laziness. You are not under the authority of doubt. You are the architect of your life. You are the leader of your destiny. And when you move, heaven moves with you. But you've got to stop negotiating with your limitations. Stop reasoning with your weaknesses. Stop playing with the very things that are keeping you broke, stuck, and defeated. Every time you hesitate, you're voting for the life you say you don't want. And every time you act in spite of fear, you're casting a ballot for the future you desire. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. Growth is painful. Action is uncomfortable. But regret is torture. 10 years from now, the pain of discipline will feel like a gift. But the pain of inaction, that will haunt you. It will show up in the form of missed opportunities, broken relationships, unfulfilled potential, and worst of all, the realization that you could have been more. But you chose comfort instead. So what do? You move. You wake up and you dominate your day. Not because you feel like it, but because you've made a decision. You decide you will not be the person who settles. You will not be the one who dies with their dreams still inside of them. You will not be average. You will not be a spectator in your own story. You will write the narrative. You will take the pen and create the life you were born to live. Force yourself to take action, even if it's messy, even if it's ugly, even if it's small. Don't underestimate the power of small moves. A single step in the right direction is worth more than 1,000 thoughts about what could be. You can fix the wrong step. You can't fix standing still, and let me tell you something. Clarity does not come from contemplation. It comes from commitment. It comes from courage. You're waiting for clarity. You're waiting to feel ready. Listen, readiness is a myth. Clarity comes when you move. purpose is revealed through progress. You're not going to think your way into success. You have to act your way into it. You have to do the thing scared. Do the thing tired, do the thing unsure, because when you do, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Your brain is wired to keep you safe. That's why it resists action. It wants certainty. But success is born in uncertainty. Victory is found in volatility. You don't grow in the known. You grow in the storm, and if you want to rise, you must break the chains of comfort. You must do hard things. You must step into fear and declare, "I'm doing it anyway." People say, "But I don't have time." That's not true. You have time for what you prioritize. You're just not prioritizing the actions that will change your life. Look at your schedule, look at your habits. Your priorities are not what you say they are. They're what you do consistently. If you want to change your life, change your actions. If you want to change your actions, change your standards. Stop waiting to feel qualified. Stop waiting to feel like you're enough. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You were created with power. You were created with purpose. And you were created with the ability to decide. That's the gift you've been given. Choice, free will. So choose to move, choose to rise, choose to act. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to drag you across the finish line. It's your responsibility. Your future belongs to the person who's willing to get uncomfortable, to do the work, to take the leap. You've got to kill the habit of hesitation, kill the fear of failure, kill the addiction to overthinking. That voice that says maybe tomorrow, silence it, crush it, replace it with I'm doing it now. Action builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence, and confidence builds more action. That's the flywheel. That's how you escape the pit. But it starts with one push, one move, one decision. So what if it's hard? So what if it's slow? So what if it's not perfect? At least you're in motion. At least you're building something. At least you're not wasting your life in the waiting room of what-ifs. Most people don't need another strategy. They need urgency. They need fire. They need a reason. And your reason must be bigger than your resistance. It must be bigger than your fear. It must be bigger than your comfort. If your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough. If your vision doesn't scare you, it's not strong enough. You weren't designed for mediocrity. You weren't built to coast. There is greatness inside of you. There is potential waiting to be unlocked. But that door only opens to the ones who move, and move now. Not next week, not next year, right now. What if you just decided that every time you feel like quitting, that's your cue to double down? What if you trained your mind to see fear as fuel? What if you stopped asking what if it doesn't work, and started declaring what if it does? That shift changes everything. That shift makes you dangerous. That shift makes you unstoppable. You can't just want it. You've got to work for it. You've got to sweat for it. You've got to bleed for it. Every breakthrough is on the other side of a decision you've been avoiding. That conversation you've been dreading. That phone call you won't make. That idea you keep putting off. That business you won't launch. That habit you won't start. That change you keep resisting. That's the block. That's the barrier. And that's exactly where your next level is hiding. It's not hidden in more information. It's not buried in another video. It's buried in action, uncomfortable action, daily action. Repetitive, exhausting, boring, challenging action. But that's what greatness demands. That's what your legacy is made of. And if you don't move, someone else will. Someone else will write the book. Someone else will get the promotion. Someone else will lead the movement. Someone else will live the life you were too afraid to fight for. This is your time. This is your shot. You may not get another one, so stop overthinking. Stop underestimating yourself. Stop letting fear write your story. Force yourself to take action. Train yourself to be bold. Condition yourself to push, to fight, to grind, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Your life will never rise higher than your level of discipline. Not your intention, not your dream, your discipline, and discipline means you move even when it's not convenient. You do the work when no one's clapping. You stay the course when nothing's changing. You execute not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. That's what separates the elite from the average, not talent, not intelligence, not even opportunity, execution, ruthless, relentless execution, and that power, that intensity, that fire it's already inside of you. You just have to wake it up. You just have to choose it, and you've got to choose it every day. So whatever's been holding you back, let it go. Whatever lie you've believed, burn it. Whatever fear has paralyzed you, face it. And then move, push, act, execute, take the step. Force yourself forward, even if it's scary, especially if it's scary, because action isn't just how you succeed. It's how you survive. It's how you become. It's how you honor the calling you've been given. You owe it to your future. You owe it to the people you were born to impact. You owe it to yourself. So stand up, lock in and move. No more waiting. No more hoping, no more wishing. Decide, then act, then never stop. Force yourself to take action and watch your entire life transform. Most people don't realize that their breakthrough isn't buried in their potential. It's buried in their pattern. You're waiting for a miracle when the real miracle is in your routine. What you do daily is forming who you're becoming eternally. So if you want to elevate, if you want to ascend to the level you were created for, you've got to start mastering your pattern. You've got to look at your habits, your behaviors, your default responses, and ask, are these aligned with where I say I want to go? Because too many people have goals written in gold, but habits rooted in garbage. They talk big dreams, but live small actions. They say they want to be successful, but they move like victims. They say they want wealth, but they invest in distractions. They say they want love, but they fear vulnerability. You cannot reach high places with low standards. You cannot unlock new levels with old mindsets. And you absolutely cannot live a life of impact while tolerating a life of inaction. There's a war happening inside of you every single day. The war between who you are and who you were created to become. One side says rest, wait, coast, play it safe. The other side is whispering, rise up, act now, fight through, build something real. And every choice you make is casting a vote. So what are you voting for? Are you voting for your greatness or your excuses? Are you voting for your destiny or your dysfunction? Every time you delay the action you know you must take, you empower your past to control your present. And when your past controls your present, your future becomes predictable and average. That's the hard truth. If you don't disrupt your behavior will destroy your breakthrough. That's why you must force yourself to move. Not suggest, not hope, not wait, force, command, demand it. Decide that you are not going to die with potential still sitting inside you like an unopened gift. Every moment of hesitation is an agreement with fear. Every second you overthink, you give fear a seat at your table. You invite doubt to make your decisions, and those decisions start small, but they become patterns, and those patterns become your prison. That's why change feels hard, because you're not just changing your actions, you're tearing down a system of behaviors that have kept you comfortable. But comfort is not your friend, it's your cage. Real growth begins the moment you no longer allow your feelings to lead your life. Feelings are temporary, they fluctuate. One moment you feel motivated, the next you feel tired. One day you're full of hope, the next you're full of fear. That's why you cannot build a life based on how you feel. You must build it based on what you've decided. You decide to wake up early. You decide to show up with excellence. You decide to pursue that dream. You decide to have that hard conversation. You decide to build even when no one is watching. And don't tell me you can't. You absolutely can. You've just been letting your weakness speak louder than your strength. But the truth is, the strength is there. It's been buried under layers of excuses, of laziness, of lies you've believed about who you are. But today, you tear off the layers. Today, you get raw and honest and admit, I've been hiding. But no more waiting. No more wondering. No more wishing someone else would rescue you. You rescue yourself by deciding that you are no longer going to sit on the sidelines of your life. People ask, how do I build confidence? You act. Confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. The more you do, the more you believe. You gain confidence by keeping the promises you make to yourself. Every time you say, I'm going to wake up early, and you don't, you lose trust with yourself. But every time you say, I'm going to show up, no matter how I feel, and you do, it builds something inside of you that no one can take away. You become a person of integrity, a person of power, a person that can be trusted, not just by others, but by yourself, because the deepest form of personal power is self-trust, knowing that when you say something, your actions will follow. That's what moves you from dreaming to dominating. That's how you force action, not with hype, but with integrity. You align what you say with what you do until it becomes automatic, until discipline becomes your lifestyle, until excellence becomes your identity, but don't expect it to be easy. The moment you decide to move forward, resistance will rise, doubt will come knocking, people will question you, life will push back. That's normal, that's expected, that's part of the price of elevation, but you don't crumble under pressure, you rise in it. You don't back down when the storm comes, you become the storm. You become a force so focused, so fierce, so faithful to your mission that nothing can distract you. Because distraction is the destroyer of destiny, it doesn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like entertainment. Sometimes it looks like convenience. Sometimes it looks like staying busy with things that don't matter, just to avoid doing the one thing that does. But you know better now. You know that real focus means eliminating the unnecessary. It means cutting out the noise. It means getting laser clear on your vision and asking daily, is this moving me closer or further from what I've committed to build? You're not a slave to your circumstances. You are a creator, a builder, a force of nature. You don't sit back and watch life happen. You create the life you want through deliberate action. And if you're tired of being stuck, if you're tired of the cycle, if you're tired of being average, then it's time to stop talking and start walking. One step, then another, then another. Momentum builds, but it won't build for someone who's standing still. The moment you act, your mind changes. When you move, your perspective shifts. Action rewires you. It resets your identity. That's why every great transformation story begins with movement. They didn't wait until they were ready. They didn't wait until everything made sense. They started and then kept going through the fear, through the failures, through the friction, because that's how champions are made, not in comfort but in chaos. So if life feels messy right now, good. You're in the right place. The mess is where the masterpiece is built. The chaos is where character is forged. The unknown is where the uncommon rise. So stop waiting for clarity, act, and let clarity catch up. Stop looking for guarantees. Your growth is the guarantee. You want the next level. You don't need permission. You need execution. Every single day, make the call, write the page, post the content, start the business. Train the body, have the conversation, say the no, set the boundary, do the thing. You've waited long enough. You've doubted long enough. You've dimmed your light for long enough. It's time to rise, time to roar. Time to reclaim what fear tried to steal from you. There's someone out there right now who needs your voice, your story, your leadership, your product, your service, your boldness. But they can't receive it if you don't release it. And you can't release it if you're still hiding in hesitation. So today you decide to move, not out of hype, but out of hunger, not for validation, but for transformation, not for applause, but for impact. The world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs a real one. It needs someone who's bold enough to act when others stay silent. Someone who's disciplined enough to show up when others sleep in. Someone who's driven enough to build when others break. That someone is you. You've got what it takes, but you'll never experience it if you don't move. So no more rehearsing your potential, no more imagining your future, no more waiting for the right mood. Today you move, today you push, today you force action, and when it gets hard, you push harder. When it feels slow, you stay steady. When it looks like nothing's happening, you trust that consistency compounds, because it does. The seed you plant today doesn't bear fruit tomorrow, but it will if you water it, if you work it, if you show up day after day with discipline and drive. Most people give up too early. They dig up the seed before it's had time to grow. Don't be most people. Be the one who stays. Be the one who builds. Be the one who finishes, because finishing is rare. Anybody can start. Only the strong finish. Only the focused finish. Only the faithful finish. And you will finish. Not because it's easy, but because you've decided you're not going to live a life of unfinished dreams and unfulfilled callings. You are not going to die full of regrets. You are going to die empty because you gave it all. You acted on every dream. You followed every nudge. You squeezed every ounce of potential out of your soul. That's what you're here for. Not to survive, to dominate, not to wait to win. But it starts with one thing: action, consistent, relentless, unapologetic action. The kind of action that scares small minds. The kind of action that stretches your faith. The kind of action that forces results because the universe has no choice but to respond to your consistency. So from this day forward, you make a vow: you will move. No matter what, no matter how hard, no matter how inconvenient, you will force action. You will train your body, discipline your mind, align your life, and act like everything depends on you, because it does. And the moment you do, everything changes, doors open, opportunities appear, people notice, results multiply, but most importantly, you become the kind of person who no longer needs to be pushed, because you've become the push. You become the storm, the fire, the engine, the one who doesn't wait for motivation because you are motivation. You don't beg for results because you demand them. You don't chase destiny, you create it. So here you are, no longer blind to your patterns, no longer a prisoner to your excuses, no longer playing small in a life that demands your greatness. You've heard the truth, you've felt the fire, now it's time to act. Because knowing without doing is just another form of denial. Wisdom without execution is wasted potential, and belief without behavior will never change your reality. You weren't born to drift. You were born to drive. You weren't created to sit in fear. You were designed to rise in faith. Every moment that follows this one is a choice. A choice to either return to what's familiar or step into the unknown where transformation lives. A choice to be average or to be unstoppable. A choice to shrink or to show up like the warrior you were always meant to be. Your destiny doesn't respond to delay. It responds to decision, and you just made one. You decided you're done negotiating with procrastination. You're done flirting with fear. You're done wishing for results, and now you're committed to working for them, day by day, brick by brick, with discipline in your hands and fire in your soul. Don't wait for the feeling. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the right moment. Be the spark, be the storm, be the voice that says, this ends with me, this begins with me, I move now. Because your life will not be defined by what you intended to do, it will be defined by what you did. So do it, force the action, break the cycle, build the future, finish the race, and watch the world change because you finally chose to move. Now go, your future is waiting, and it won't wait forever. Thank you.